Okay, so the idea of this one is essentially you have an apartment complex that has an applicant, right? Say Bob, and Bob wants them to. So they require a background check, right? And Bob wants them to know whether or not he's a safe person to rent to without them actually seeing the full scope of his background check. So he doesn't want them to see like listed criminal record, credit score, income statements, all of the different things that would come back to the bureau that's actually running this check. So the baseline implementation here is to have some sort of algorithm that would show to the complex just a yes or no of yes, you can rent to him, no, you shouldn't rent to him, based on some sort of MSA that's kind of agreed by the apartment as well as anyone who is applying to lease with this apartment. And that way they can be sure that you are getting kind of enough of a result of whether or not they should be rented to without them actually seeing all of the different data points that are involved in getting that result.
Any thoughts from the group on how this is or isn't baselining, or what a prototype or piece of implementation could look like for a group of developers to take on for this?
Andres?
Yeah, so it is, so how it currently works is that you basically have a centralized entity that collects all the information from the different other entities, right? So they know everything, right? If you want to do it in a decentralized way, right? You send the request to all the agencies, you yourself, because right, someone wants a background check from you and says, these are my requirements, right? And I need these from these agencies, right? So so what you do is you actually send a request to each agency, and they need to add and then tell them, hey, once you're done, add it to the other one, add it to the other one, add it to the other one, right? So they're basically updating the proof every single time. And then the final proof, it proves everything. Right? So so you can do 1 to n, where you're the central entity because you need it, and then you just present whatever 3, 4, 5 proofs together, or you're doing that and then you're handing out you're doing a recursive proof where each one proves a different aspect.
So Andreas, in this scenario, does the apartment complex get to see some of this information, or is that also?
No, they don't get to see anything. They just get a proof. They're just getting a proof that all of the organizations that you requested the information from provided that information, and that it fulfills your requirement, that the apartment complex.
Okay, so the requirement for the credit score would, for instance, be that it be some minimal value. So they don't have to see the score, but they need to have some proof that your score is above some threshold or something.
That is correct. So you're over 25, or your credit score is over 650, and that you're I don't know, you're either you're a citizen or have a valid you have a valid immigration status. So it's like without revealing anything.
So in this situation, Bob goes to his bank and says, I need you to send a proof of my credit score being at least 650 to the apartment complex, for example. Is that right?
Yeah, so that would be one solution. Yes. So you have 5 requirements, and then you get 5 different proofs, right? Or you get or you have 5 different requirements, and in the end you get one proof that proves everything.
Right. Okay.
So one question is, because some of these ideas that were submitted were just like simply the name, but would something like this for the grant for BLIP work, especially at this scope, would it kind of look like Battleship in the way where it's more like a prototype example?
I think this is really a good example of coordination under zero knowledge. This is actually really good because it involves multiple official parties and an end consumer. Right, so it's actually an end consumer focused example.
Cool.
Right, where you can take out a lot of so it's like the challenge is still the coordination work, but if they're all registered entities, right, where you can look them up and send those requests to, then you can build everything really nicely with like verifiable credentials and verifiable presentations and presentation requests and everything, right? And then in the end, you're getting a nicely done zero knowledge proof wrapped in a VC. Boom.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Right.
Thank you. And yeah, this is good to maybe on these blips, let's make sure we make that indication about the proposed scope being just an example. Because, and then we can add comments like from this call on ways to actually do the work to propose more or less money based on what they want to do.
Sure. Yeah.
By the way, the VC would not be issued actually by the entity. You would do it yourself because you're going to get the proof, but because the way that the proof is constructed, it requires a signature and a match of the identity. So you request that this did, right, is signing is generating the proof with this public key, and then you can build the proof with signature verification, and then voila, you don't even the issuing entity doesn't have to do anything. They just have to send the proof because their signature is already embedded in the proof itself. So that's also an interesting way to avoid having to expose any nonces and signatures and things like that. So to the outside world, which make keys or make signatures attackable. Anyway.
Okay.